The 38th Ryder Cup at Celtic Manor lived up to expectations with as dramatic a finish as we've ever seen in the long history of this unique competition. Lee Westwood, the strong man of Colin Montgomery's European team, was entrusted with the job of sending the team out against Steve Stricker. Both Montgomery and Corey Pavin putting their top men at the top of the order. Europe, remember, going into the final day singles 9.5, 6.5 in front, looking for 5 points to regain the Ryder Cup. The opening holes played in mist and fog. It didn't hold up play at all, and as the day went on, the weather got better and better. The Westwood-Stricker match was very much Westwood's early on, but then Stricker came into his own. Westwood missing a couple of makeable putts, and the back nine belonged to the American. This for an eagle 2 at 15. And suddenly Steve Stricker very much had control in that psychologically important opening match. This for a birdie at 17. Didn't manage that, but the tap-in was enough. Steve Stricker taking the opening match 2-1 against Lee Westwood, and the margin reduced to 9.5, 7.5. Dustin Johnson without a point until the singles was a changed man today. The putter was working, he played some lovely golf, and in the end had a very comfortable win against an out-of-touch Martin Kaymer. Kaymer had his moments, but not enough of them. It wasn't his day. Dustin Johnson a winner by a very convincing 6-4. Now there's only 1 point in it, 9.5, 8.5. Ian Poulter, of course, just loves the Ryder Cup. He's inspired by it, and he was very much the cheerleader for the galleries at Celtic Manor. This a birdie at the third to go 1 up. Then even better at the 11th. Straight in for eagle, and that took him into a 4-hole lead. He lost one at 12, but then the 13th. And another terrific putt by the Englishman. He really does seem to find something special. He's now won 7 of his last 9 Ryder Cup encounters. This at the 14th. Outstanding golf from Ian Poulter. Matt Kuchar really had no answer to it, and Poulter riding that wave of affection, winning by 5 and 4, 10.5, 8.5. Rory McIlroy had a really tough match against Stuart Sink, one of the strong American men. This is second into the 12th. McIlroy was 1 up, but Sink just wouldn't go away. In the end, it came down to a par putt at 18 to earn McIlroy a half point. An absolutely cracking match. Now it's 11-9 in Europe's favour. Luke Donald was superb early on. This a birdie putt at 15 to go 2 up with 3 to play. Once again, the crowd inspiring the European players, and at the 18th, the birdie didn't drop, but it was enough to see off Jim Furyk. Another excellent match, and Donald at 1 point, comfortably in charge, eventually won 1 up, 12-9. Miguel Angel Jimenez, straight into the hole for eagle at the 8th. Then a wonderfully played bunker shot with a very awkward stance at 15. Jimenez, at the age of 46, playing what he says almost certainly will be his last Ryder Cup, was always in front of Bubba Watson. And this at 15, enough for a win by 4 and 3. Europe still in charge, 13-9, the winning post coming into sight. Olé, olé indeed for the Spaniard. Jeff Overton has had a very impressive Ryder Cup debut for the US. He went behind early on against Ross Fisher, but this his second into the 8th, and for the second day in a row he very nearly knocked it in for eagle. Now he's only 1 down. Ross Fisher sadly lost a bit of form, missed this putt for par at 16, and Jeff Overton the winner, 3 and 2. Now it's 13-10 in favour of the US. Tiger Woods has had a pretty successful Ryder Cup. Today he was absolutely outstanding. He had 9 birdies playing against Francesco Molinari. This is second into the 12th. He didn't actually know at that point that he'd hold it. But he found out soon enough. Is it in, he says? Oh yes. Francesco Molinari did not play badly by any means. He was 4 under par himself, but Woods in this form really was unbeatable. How about this for birdie at 13? That took him 4 up with 5 to play. The end came at the 15th with another birdie putt. 4 and 3 for a resurgent Tiger Woods. 13-11 now in Europe's favour. And while the world #1 was showing the form that we all know he's capable of, Phil Mickelson, who did a desperately poor Ryder Cup up until this point, hadn't contributed a point. Suddenly it all came good today against Peter Hansen. Celebrating his birthday, the Swede, but Mickelson the winner. 4 and 2. Now it's 13-12. Zach Johnson too in splendid form in the second last match against Padraig Harrington. The par putt at 16 was enough. A 3 and 2 win for Johnson over Harrington. It's 13 all. Ricky Fowler looked to be in all sorts of trouble in his match, but then suddenly he produced a fantastic finish against Eduardo Molinari. A birdie putt at 16, at 17, and then at 18. From Dormy 3 down, Fowler produced a half point, a vital half point for Corey Pavin's side. The score's tied at 13.5 all, 1 match left on the course. Graham McDowell had never been behind against Hunter Mahan, but then he gave himself a horrible lie at 15, fluffed the chip and was only 1 up. At 16, down the hill, slippery putt, vital for McDowell. And that restored his 2-hole lead with 2 to go. But the half point wouldn't have been enough for Europe. They needed to win 14.5 to 13.5 to regain the cup. It wasn't over yet, but that was a vital moment for Graham McDowell and for Europe. It came to 17, and then poor Hunter Mahan fluffed the chip, and suddenly the US were in real trouble. Mahan, remember, needs to win the last 2 holes to half the match to allow the US to retain the trophy in a tied match. At 17, this for birdie by McDowell, but he leaves it short. There's still a chance. Mahan can still win the hole. This needs to drop though for the American, and it doesn't. And that was the moment that the Ryder Cup was won and lost, and Colin Montgomery's dream came